Hello friends, we always ask whether there is any evidence of artifacts and cuneiform that explains the story of early civilization as written in the Bible. Behind the biblical flood story, there are big questions that may not be answered. Who was the first king to rise after this great disaster? Was the biblical Nimrod also known as Sargon of Akkad, the great king of Mesopotamia? According to the Bible, Noah's descendants from Shem created a direct line of descent leading back to Abraham. This is the line known by great names, such as Aber, from which the name Hebrew derives. But where did this civilization begin, and who were the first leaders to establish a new world empire? Nimrod, a legendary figure in the Bible, is called a mighty hunter before God. He was the first king to establish kingdoms in Babylon, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar, which is now known as the region of Mesopotamia. But who is this Nimrod? Outside the Bible, we find Sargon of Akkad, a great king who started the Akkadian dynasty and ruled over almost all of Mesopotamia. Sargon's life story is similar to Nimrod's. He was a great ruler and is believed to have started one of the first post-flood civilizations. Were Nimrod and Sargon the same person? Some scholars suggest that Nimrod may be a representation of this great king who lived in the same era and built the first civilization in Shinar. The flood story is not only found in the Bible. In the Indian epic, Manu is saved from a flood by the god Vishnu. In China, the legend of Yu the Great records a similar event, in which Yu fights a great flood to save his people. Even in South America, the Incas had a legend of a great flood that destroyed life on Earth. All this suggests that there was a universal story of the flood that persisted across cultures. In Mesopotamia, there is the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest accounts of a flood. It tells of a character named Utnapishtim, who was saved from the great flood by the gods. Is this story another depiction of the biblical Noah? Shinar, mentioned in the Bible, is believed to have been in Mesopotamia, right around the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. This is where civilization began after the flood, in accordance with the biblical account that the entire world developed from the descendants of Noah. The Bible states that from the descendants of Noah, humans spread throughout the earth. Based on linguistic and archaeological evidence, many scholars believe that Mesopotamia was indeed the center of early civilization, from which many peoples and languages later developed. In the city of Ur, where Abraham was born, tablets from the Ur-Third period, around 2047 to 1750 BC, have been found that contain similar names such as Abram, Laban, and Serug. This shows a strong connection between the biblical story and Mesopotamian historical records. In Mari, tablets were found that mention Hibram, an ethnic group possibly related to the word Hebrew. Is this further evidence supporting the existence of Hebrews in ancient times? In Ebla, ancient tablets from around 2300 BCE mention names similar to biblical figures, such as Abramu, similar to Abram, as well as other names such as Ebir and Salah. In addition, they also mention famous cities such as Sodoma and Gomorrah. The Bible records that Nimrod began building a tower at Babel to reach the heavens. The ziggurats that still exist in Iraq may provide a glimpse of this great structure. Are these the remains of the Tower of Babel? Abraham's journey from Ur to Canaan followed the main trade routes of the time. With this evidence, we can see that the biblical account is not just a legend, but a real travelogue. In the Bible, it is mentioned that in the days of Peleg, the earth was divided. Some scholars believe this may refer to geographical divisions or large territorial divisions that formed national boundaries. From Mesopotamia, humans spread throughout the world. The evidence from Ur, Ebla, Mari, and other Mesopotamian records is consistent with the Bible. This leads us to ask, is all this evidence a coincidence, or does the Bible really record the history of humanity? These evidences lead us to a surprising conclusion. The Bible is not only a religious book, but also a record of the history of human civilization. God bless you and your family always.